Yeah, because he likes to jerk it on people's hands.
I'd rather do an early one.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out. We played some Rocky for you just so that you did it. You made it. Congratulations. Thursday morning, 8:30 first session. Woo! My name is Alan Baycock. I work for US EPA and Adam Evoy. And this is Sophia. So sorry, it was a long night last night. And then Mel Joseph is here from the Lone Pine Tribe, and we're all just going to be talking some trash this morning. And in doing so, just notice, this is not good. It's like not a good spot. Just know that there have been some new things that have happened. Adam will go over those items to be able to make it smoother and easier to be able to get some solid waste activities done. And then Mel's going to talk about the different activities, many different activities that their tribe has done over the years. And that will give you some ideas for what kind of things you can maybe be thinking about or putting into your own work plans for solid waste implementation. So with that, I will turn it over to Adam.
Good morning, everyone. So on the next slide, I was just going to talk a little bit about the General Assistance Program. So yeah, this is just a general overview of GAP, which is the General Assistance Program for folks at AIEO, so the GAP world. So it's a grant opportunity for tribes and intertribal consortia. And it's also the largest grant program to federally recognized tribes as well. And there are three main purposes for the program. One is to help tribes plan, develop, and establish their capacity to implement various environmental programs that EPA administers. And the second part is, which is what we're going to dive into today, is helping tribes develop and implement their own solid and hazardous waste programs on their own Indian lands and tribal lands. And the final latter portion is collecting, transporting, and disposing of solid waste and recovered materials that happen to be on any of your lands. On the next slide, we will cover the GAP guidance and what it says about solid waste activities that GAP funds. And there's a major component in the guidance which talks about the integrated solid waste management plan or the integrated waste management plan. And this plan is basically what serves as a roadmap for developing your own effective waste management program for your communities. And it's basically a document that sort of does a short-term and long-term outline for how your tribe will reduce, manage, and dispose of the waste that are generated or found in the lands. And also in the PTEP, it also reflects some of the waste plans that are also in your work plan commitments for the General Assistance Program or your GAP work plans. And so your integrated waste management plan would include waste management programs that are found in your EPA Travel Environmental Plan, which is the TTEP, as well as highlight some of the waste management commitments that are in your work plan to help you get closer to establishing your capacity, establishing your own solid waste programs. And specifically in the guidance that was published in 2022, I'm going to read this really quickly to show you the type of data that headquarters likes to see when it comes to the work you do in your work plans when it comes to solid waste. And so it reads that the progress reports in your work plans that include solid or hazardous waste implementation, including service delivery activities, should include information on the amount of waste that is collected, transported, tackled, and disposed, the types of waste handled, the origination, and the final disposition of the waste. And this includes recycled or reused portions of the waste stream. And so this basically helps the tribe track the amount of waste that you find in your communities, and also helps you establish your own sort of baselines for what you want to see in your communities. also could also help you sort of reflect on if any of your outreach activities are having any major changes in terms of what you find in your waste streams and what you find in your tribal lands. And so this diagram here is in the 2022 GAP guidance, and it basically establishes how EPA will evaluate the use of GAP funding to help you clean up and close any open dumps on your tribal lands. And so there are different approvals that may be required for the different stages of solid or hazardous waste program developments. And so in the first portion, if your tribe doesn't have an established solid or hazardous waste program, and AIEO, which is the American Indian Environmental Office, will approve the cleanup and closure request. But if your tribe is in stages of developing your solid and hazardous waste program or has an established solid and hazardous waste program, then the EPA regional office would approve the closure and cleanup request, which is not. And on the next slide, this is one of the new items in terms of the solid waste world, which is the 2024 supplemental guidance that came out of headquarters. It was published, I believe, in April of this year, and it basically lists the information that they want to see in progress reports when it comes to your solid and hazardous waste activities that you have in your GAP work plans. And the first part is the type of waste. The second part is the origination, where is the waste material coming from. The third part is the amount, and this can vary depending on how you all measure the waste that you find. And the final part is the final disposition of waste, so which is where does it ultimately go and where does it end up. And on the next slide, there's an example of what this could look like in terms of your reporting. And this example here, I won't read it all for you, you can all see it, but it basically captures the materials and the waste type, which is trash, where it originated from, which is the household, residential, institutional, and commercial, and also the amount. And the amount can vary in terms of how granular or how general it could look like in terms of how you all measure the waste that you are finding and ultimately disposing of. And in this progress report example, it is disposed by landfill, and it's written out in the progress report. And this is something that if you need help with in terms of how you capture this data in your reporting, you can talk to your project officer, and then we can help you walk through that. Because sometimes some of this data might be sensitive, and so in terms of how you want to represent this data that comes to us, we can talk through that and work through that. And I wanted to touch on that tracking these data points can ultimately be very helpful for your program and your communities. For example, as I mentioned before, some of this can be useful in tracking sort of the efficacy of some of your solid waste outreach strategies. In terms of whether it's increasing recycling in your communities, increasing composting, and whatever sort of data points you have laid out. And that is all I have in terms of some of the new supplemental guidance that came out of headquarters. And I will now be passing it on to Mel from Lone Pine, who will talk about how he has established his own solid waste program and how they report some of the data points that they track. But I wanted to give a brief intro of Mel that was written down. So first, Mel Joseph is an enrolled member of the Lone Pine Paiute-Shoshone tribe, which is located in the Owens Valley, California. Mr. Joseph was instrumental in the establishment of the tribe's Environmental Protection Department, administrating the initial General Assistance Program funded in 1998. So during the past 26 years, Mr. Joseph has been responsible for planning, implementation, and the monitoring of the Environmental Protection Program, including Clean Water Act Section 106, 19, and the Clean Air Act Section 103 funding. And he also helps conduct studies and assessment reports, assisting in compliance monitoring and enforcement of various special projects, and has sought out additional funding for various special programs and projects. Mr. Joseph also takes pride in maintaining a passionate balance of problem solution-based communication between federal, state, county, city, and local agencies regarding environmental protection needs, requirements, and coordinated efforts and activities. Mr. Joseph currently serves as a tribal representative on the Western Regional Air Partnership and Lone Valley Groundwater Authority Boards of Directors. So this is a very seasoned and established tribal environmental director in the GAP world, and we're very honored to have him join us today to share his experiences in implementing some of these software programs.
Good morning. I like that word season. Anyway, good morning, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here this week to enjoy the conference. Starting the program in 1998, when you have a chairperson, a vice chairperson come to you and say, hey, we have this program we'd like to see if we can get and start. And at the time, I was 6 years into teaching at the local high school that I went to high school at, and also involved with coaching the volleyball team, which I continued to do up until last spring. So 32 years of coaching high school girls volleyball in the community and coaching high school that I went to has just been phenomenal. And so to be able to retire from that and be able to do this job simultaneously for the last 26 years has been an honor, but I give it to my tribe and the people that are my leaders that allowed me to do that. Because when I retired in April from coaching, everyone thought that's what I did. And I said, no, I've had this real job the entire time. And so now to be able to be here and kind of be not a newbie, but to actually have a chance to talk about our unique program in Lone Pine is really exciting for me. And to be here today and see so many of you that I recognize over the 26 years that we've done this, and also our colleagues from the North Valley and Eastern Sierra that we work with. Thanks for the support today. So today when we talk about the uniqueness of programs, I want you to keep in mind that every program is unique as well as every individual tribe. Great. So how it all started. The dawn of the program. So the Lone Pine Paiute-Shoshone Reservation was established in 1937 through a land exchange between the Department of Interior and the Department of Los Angeles. Our land total base is 237 acres. We have no water rights. We have about 100 homes with about 10 tribal operations and buildings with a population of about 350. We sit at an elevation of about 3,745 feet. We are in the Owens Valley, which is between the lowest point at 282 feet below sea level at Badwater and Death Valley, to the highest point in the contiguous United States at Mount Whitney at 14,505 feet. Rainfall averages of about less than 5 inches a year. So being at the valley floor, and dealing what we deal with, and as I said, we are landlocked by the city of Los Angeles. So our 237 acres really isn't sufficient for our members to live on. So as I tell our solid waste story, we need to think about the fact that we have to provide services to the entire community of Lone Pine, not just our reservation, because we have members that live everywhere. Next slide. So I come from the environmental assessment days, back when that was the first thing we did. We received our GAP grant. It's like, what do we do? When you establish an office, you read the emails, and we didn't have those emails then. Snail mail. So you read the mail, you send a file. And I want to give a shout out to our very first partner officer was Nancy. And so, we go back that far, and I think about, I think I have 3 project officers, either current or former in here today. So, we've been around a while. So she was just instrumental in really helping us. And also back in those days, EPA, and I still have on my office wall from 1999, I attended the GAP workshop. And that's when GAP recipients were invited to go to EPA headquarters and really see what it's about, see the ins and outs of what they do, but really get comfortable with headquarters and being in the city and seeing they do it. It was really a great thing. And so when we talk about bringing it 26 years forward now, I was really happy in some of the sessions I sat in yesterday that you are allowing those people that have some longevity programs to share their stories, because that is what's important. So So just keep those things in mind when we talk about where we were with environmental assessments and where we are now with detail. So we had the environmental assessment done, and so we identified that the junk vehicles were a top priority. But in 2002, as we're doing this, this picture up here was kind of our first solid waste issue. Is the top picture is a tribal member's assignment who was not living in the assignment and was renting their assignment out to a non-tribal member. This tenant was a miner whose health had deteriorated. The mine had been closed. And so mining stuff began showing up little by little. So the top picture, well, you see the bottom picture, that's actually the cleanup after. You see the home and kind of see some of the fencing. So the top picture is outside that fencing, and in this area, we have our groundwater monitoring, or some of our groundwater monitoring. So, being mining, it's like, what is this stuff? The tribal member isn't around, see what's happening. So we just slowly try to educate him, but his health deteriorated, and I think he actually ended up passing away while we were doing this. So we cleaned it up. And so how to do that, we didn't have specifics at that time, right? It's a work plan, there's things that come up. So we just little by little worked with our tribal worker, we worked with administration, said, hey, we need to get this removed. So that was kind of the first big thing of dealing with, tenants, if you will, that are non-tribal and dealing with that. So next slide. So we finally got to 2003 to begin our solid waste dealing with vehicle removal program. So what we did is we were able to purchase our truck, so our white solid waste truck here that sits up the trailer, placards and all. Sometimes we took the placards off because then they know we were traveling around, so I didn't truck. But then we also purchased the car home. And so what we would do is we would go around and we were just talking about, the issues with having junk vehicles. And we all know how sensitive junk vehicles are. We call junk vehicles, they're not really junk vehicles. They're going to be used for something someday, right? But a lot of times we find out that there's really just a lot of just sentimental value in why people keep their vehicles, right? And I know this Ford Pinto, the yellow one, is an anthem of mine. I mean, when I was putting together this presentation, look back at it, I'm like, oh, that Thelma, you know what I mean? So there is that, but that Thelma needed to go, And so what happened? So we just started, we would go and we'd go approach tribal members and we just talk about what we were doing. And the first thing they want to think is that, what do you want to do with it, right? Are you going to make money off that? So you have to explain, that we don't make money off of the program, and we're providing this and that and the other. And so they begin, so then, we're going ahead, we're doing intakes, getting VIN numbers, getting all the things that we need at that point to have them released. And so we would stage them. So we found a place up on that wasn't assigned that we could stage the vehicles until we were actually ready to have them come picked up. And so we have a recycle company that's about 75 miles from us that they'll come up and they'll pick these up for us. So kind of the unique thing about how we report is that, so in a flyer around holidays, this flyer here actually depicts scenario which we did in 2009. So we showed the vehicles that we removed, and then we reported that during that removal, we had 10 cars. And so we just say that we thank everybody for participating. So during the time of 2003, 2009, we were able to remove 74 vehicles. And there was kind of a little lull at that time. But over the years and now, I mean, we just, it comes and goes. We find that you kind of give people breaks with how you're on them and trying to get rid of these things. So between 2003, 2009, we had 74 vehicles. It was kind of a lull. And then now with fire hazards and all these types of things, we've been able to now go out and we're working on educating about what it is. It's a fire hazard as well. So we're starting to get back on the assignments, and people are starting to get less resistant to letting those things go. So we've already removed 2 vehicles beginning of October, And we just, this week, got contact from another terminal and said, hey, I got 4. So as they reach out to us now, they're like, hey, we can get rid of it. So it's just that evolution of how you do that. But cars are an issue. So total to date, since we started, so 21 years, we've removed 107 vehicles. So that's a lot. When we look at the overall picture of how many vehicles we really could have, say we have 100 homes on the reservation, we figure 2 cars, which we'll say 2 cars, right, per resident. Some have 200 themselves, right, in a small state. So when you look at that, we potentially have over 200 vehicles on it, just there. So, and there's more than that. So it's a continuous issue, and you just have to be unique in how you approach in talking about it. Next slide. So also in 2002, we began our Christmas tree recycling program. And so what was happening is that we were noticing that we were just seeing trees laying on the side of the road here and there. And we go to the landfill and there were these trees. Well, they were charging for people to dump their trees. And so we're like, hey, at the time, we had dirt parking lots, right? And we're trying to monitor air quality of dirt parking lots. So we thought, oh, let's start, we'll collect them, and we'll get them chipped, and then we can put them down and what have you. So we've been doing this Christmas tree removal program since 2003. And so, like I said, we use them in the dirt parking lot that were causing dust emissions. We use the tribal work crew assisted with chipper operations, and then we also mulch and compost now. So to date, we've removed 1,162 Christmas trees. This is in the very local landfill. So we're pretty excited about that. We have noticed now a lot more people are getting a live Christmas tree, and maybe they're planting it and using it over and over, or they're going with the artificial. So we've seen a definite decline in the amount of live trees that we're seeing, but still one tree is better than no tree. So we still offer that program. Next slide. In 2004, we began our home recycling program. We provided recycle bins for paper, aluminum, and plastic. And these were just really around our community. So we would have them at our administration, our education center, our housing, our TAM program, cultural, and elders. And so we found that, yeah, they're generating, and so we're getting anyway, and so we would just offering another way for our members to recycle. In 2015, we noticed that, hey, we need to get out in the community because we're seeing trash around from events. So and in Lone Pine, they have this huge film festival over October. We have different events that bring people into town. And so we see the need for waste removal at different events. So we would put bins out at the park where they're having an art show, or the auditorium, high school auditorium where they're showing movies. And so we're noticing again this reaches out into the community because that's where we are. It's not just those 237 acres. And then the fun part about it obviously is when we do the waste characterization. So we actually dump them out in the parking lot, right? And we go through and sort them. So we want to show that we really do that. And while it's not the funnest job, it's interesting to see because no matter where you put a bin that says plastic only or aluminum only, you're going to find a hot dog, or you're going to find something that doesn't belong. So there is a need to do that. So we continue that. The other thing is that I wanted to make a note of is that once we sort, we give the recyclables to our elders program, and so they're able to use when they actually go to redeem them, and they have that extra money to do those programs. So that's kind of what we do with the recyclables. We give to our elders programs to redeem. Next. So with vehicles come tires, right? So so we were like, hey, we're seeing a lot of tires as we're getting out onto assignments and doing vehicle intakes and just kind of stopping people's assignments. We're noticing a lot of tires, and so like, well, what can we do about this? And it's like, we need to do the education of what happens to having tires that are around. So in Union County, they began what they call a tire amnesty day. So they would do this in the spring, And so what we would do is we would send out notifications saying, hey, it's tire amnesty day is coming up, prepare your tires. And so what we do is we would have people just put them in their land or on assignments or on the side of the road, and we would have our tribal work group go out and pick them up. The unique thing about this is that they would only allow tires off the rim no larger than 24.5 inches in diameter, and you could only take 7 at a time, right? So, I put up the 2008 collection of it. So we took 305 tires to the landfill that day during the tire amnesty day, 7 at a time. So, it's quite interesting. So then, they only do once a year. So then, we do have tires that are being stored yearly. But it was kind of a fun thing, but you don't realize how many tires are out there, because somehow they're keeping tires too, with these cars that they don't want to get rid of. And so, to date, 1,103 tires have been removed from the reservation, 7 at a time. So we made it fun. Some things we probably shouldn't have shared. We had teams going back and forth of how fast we could get our 7 there, and we're, doing water balloon lights off the side. You just gotta make it fun. Our landfill is less than a mile away from the reservation in this county, so it was kind of where we all learned to drive into. So why not show them? Anyway, next slide. So in 2008, California was really pushing their Adopt a Highway cleanup program. So staff thought, okay, we're going to adopt a highway. And reasons being is that the Lone Pine Reservation, we are bisected by US Highway 395, which is the main artery between Los Angeles and Reno, with Mammoth Mountain Ski Area and Yosemite's east entrance along the way. So we would schedule, we would notice a lot of trash along the highway following, say, summer, after summer traffic. And so we would plan to do a cleanup in the fall. Then we would notice in the spring there's a lot of trash from skiers, from winter skier traffic. So then we would do one, obviously, following those seasons. So we got strategic. Well, we had to transition from staff to more community because of 5 other reasons and things like that. So we started involving our other programs. Hey, you guys can do the highway, we'll kind of oversee it. And so in 2009, you can go ahead and go to the slide. So in 2009, we began transitioning kind of away from the roadway and involving the reservation roads more. And so, clarifying note is that the county landfill is just 1.5 miles east of the reservation. Perimeter roadways leading to the landfill get littered with trash and other debris. In addition, municipalities from outlying areas haul their trash, and who knows what else, to the county landfill on those same surrounding reservation roadways. So we get a lot of trash around the reservation. So we began our community roadway, and so we would do it during the holidays season when it's easier to access the trash, if you will, in winter because things have died off, and it's cooler, right? And who doesn't like to bundle up and pick up trash? And so we would make it fun. And so we have several roads, and so I'm going to just give you an example. So what we would do is we would have the Eshaw Lane. So these are roads. Eshaw Lane, they were the composters. We have the Taya Road recyclers. We have the Substation Road invasive species. We have the Goodwin Road hazardous wasters. We have the Goodwin, the Zuko Road children of the Brownsfields. We have Tinglaw Road global warming. So we made it fun by making education. They stand behind the pylon, really lined up and go, these are the road signs. So they come back and bring their trash and have a lot of fun. You go to the next slide. So in 2010, we co-sponsored this, what we call an epic event, with the Owens Valley Career Development Center, which manages our tribal AIEO families program. And again, I mentioned that liability insurance thing. And so at the time, Disney was doing a promotion about Disney Give a Day, Get a Day. And so there were several things that you could do community service-wise, and Disney would recognize that with free pass. So we got together with our OBCDC program, and we hosted this cleanup. So we had over 150 people show up, collecting 145 bags of trash. And we were looking for places to pick up trash, right? So we did our highway, we did reservation roads, we did all the way to the county landfill. And so the volunteers that showed up, right, at 8 o'clock in the morning, traveled to the Owens Valley from as far away as Fresno, Sacramento, and even Tonopah Valley. So as the crow flies, they're like, oh, there's a great place we can get a Disney pass. Well, when they got to Lone Pine, some of them were like, are you being punked? Is this really, is this really legit? We're like, yeah. And so, obviously we couldn't do that again. I don't think Disney did it ever again. That's too many trash, that's some people living. But these are just unique ways that we went about like, hey, let's make it a community deal in the middle of this. So that was really fun, cool to be able to work. Next slide. So in 2008, white goods. So waste disposable practices on reservations are save it, store it, part it, right? And store it always prevails. So white goods were discovered hidden next to vehicles during the process of conducting intakes to remove vehicles. We find things hiding right around signs. So white goods became really something like, hey, we gotta look on this. And so residents can request pickup where they can drop off white goods at a designated area. And again, we work with our tribal housing department and tribal work group to coordinate those efforts. So again, given the small land base, only 237 acres, lack of housing and infrastructure, many members do reside, as I mentioned, on the unincorporated community of Lone Pine. So needing to expand our services. So to date, we have picked up 212 white good appliances. So kind of classify those all together. We do break them out, so I know how many refrigerators, how many, but for purposes of this, we just want to do collectively and for PO purposes. They're sitting right here. Yeah. Next slide. So as well in 2008, we began e-waste collection. So we sponsor our very first tribal event. And so that was the note back there that we had said. And so just our first event, people are like, what do we do? What do we do with this e-waste stuff? And of course, it was still, you look at the big things are, and everything was big. And so in our first event, we collected 11 towers, 20 monitors, 3 TVs, 5 typewriters, right? People are like, what's a typewriter? Well, back in '98, you had to submit everything typewritten, right? And snail mail, your drawdowns, your reports, right? Everything you use a typewriter, all those wonderful forms that we have to do over and over and over. Typewriter. So people were like, we had kids come out of college doing internships. We're like, what's a typewriter? So 5 of those, we had 3 fax machines, 3 scanners, 2 cash registers, because we used to have a store on the reservation, 5 adding machines, 14 printers, 3 stereos, 10 keyboards, 6 mice, 12 speakers, 6 DVD and VCR players, yeah, 1 laptop, 10 remote controls, 3 cell phones, only 3 cell phones because we couldn't have a lot of cell phones back then, right? And a box of cords. So today we diverted over 1,195 pieces of e-waste. All right, next slide. All right, so in 2011, I'm sorry, yeah, 2011, we were starting to notice a lot of office paper and magazines, catalogs, newspaper, cardboard, all those types of things, not really cardboard, but that were building up in our tribal buildings, offices. And so we thought, well, let's start providing a way that they can reuse office paper, just being thrown away. So again, we have expanded into the community of Lone Pine. So we have not only all of our tribal administration, housing, TANF, health clinic, our virtual lab, we also are in our elementary, our high school, our district offices, and our community libraries also have bins for pickup. Residents are provided with smaller bins, and we pick up the big bins the last week of each month. And we have the on-site shredder comes right to it and shreds that. So to date, since 2011, we have recycled 41.7 tons. So that's pretty good. All right, next slide. Now we're gonna play with some solid waste. So, playing with solid waste. So, we pick up trash. We're gonna try to make it fun. So part of our Earth Day celebration, we've done Earth Day waste characterization. So there's trash, there's bags of trash that they pick up. They actually get to go play with it. So we'll do a waste characterization game where they have bags of trash and they have 2 minutes. Their team has 2 minutes to run and sort that trash. Whoever sorts it out, so you have to go aluminum recycle. So we do that. We also have the trash bag costume game. So that's always fun where they get to, take trash and play with it. We have Captain Trash over here. And then this little girl here, just saw her over the weekend. She's a senior in high school. It's just crazy how to grow up. Anyway, and then also we have Gladys the Recycle Scope. And this is on loan from Indian County down here in the bottom. And so what we do is we're able to, all the recyclables that we pick up, we're able to actually put them through and get to look at each recycle scope. So it's really a cool thing that we've been able to work with the county to bring these things countywide to show our solid waste needs. Next slide. So talk about outreach and collection. So there's, like I said, it's very unique in how we do it. So there's ways that in newsletters, I'll just put, hey, this is what happened here. In our cards, when we're sending out notifications about Tire Amnesty Day, we'll say, tires are a problem, they attract mice, mosquitoes, poisonous spiders, things like that. So we'll incorporate that into, as we collect and get it out into our community, mostly via our newsletter. All right. Before that one of the things I want to notice, so sometimes you think about when is the best time to collect things like e-waste or white goods and things like that. So where we found that we really hold that is we do our e-waste after the holidays when people are getting new stuff, right? And then again around Super Bowl when people are getting new TVs, right? So we try to strategically think about real life events that are happening and people are doing that. We've also worked with administration to provide roll-off dumpsters for all waste at different parts of the reservation. And then I wanted to talk about too, before this slide, is we track waste so we can see that we're reducing the amount of what we're doing. And so one thing that I wanted to touch upon is that trash collected from the roadways has decreased. So in FY22, during our Earth Day event, we collected 28 bags. In FY23, we collected 23 bags. And this last year, we collected 10 bags. And so that's how we see the reduction of what's being diverted. And I have some charts that I'll pass around for you to kind of look at, just to kind of see how we track. Because it's not that hard. I mean, it's as hard as you want to make it, but it's also the uniqueness of how you do work with your public address officer. That's what we are. Project officer. Also, I want to touch upon before we talk about the pandemic, is that yesterday was touched upon, I wrote this down, is that education and outreach, staff and tribal work crews, that is what equals sustainability, and that's what we've really seen with the success of our program. So appreciated that was brought up in that session this week. So during the pandemic, obviously, tribal members were receiving everything, right? We were able to provide them with water, food, PPE, and this was through regular contacts delivery, obviously reducing the need for tribal members to leave their homes. So we worked with our tribal work crew, and so we would put out information of like how to recycle during COVID-19. And so we talked about how to recycle, how to safely dispose of things, and as well as how to collect it. Because during the pandemic, recycling and disposal became the responsibility of the household, while they're receiving it. So I just wanted to kind of just point that out, that we did have work to do during the pandemic, as you all know. Next slide. So we do an environmental youth camp that we take a lot of pride on. We wrap up each year with in July, and it's just grown and grown and grown and grown. And so this year at Environmental Youth Camp, we did an activity called Trashy Lake Cleanup. This was done at the Inyo County Diaz Lake Recreation Area. So we collaborated with Inyo County Parks and Recreation as well as Friends of the Inyo. And prior to them going out and picking up trash, they discussed topics on about how long does it take things to decompose. And they were able to go out and pick that up. So Next slide. Also during youth camp, they did some work, some creek bed and trail work, pruning and working in the creek beds. And so they got to do the work at pruning, but then they also got to load it before it went to the chipper. So this was all done as an activity at youth camp. So we try to make it a lot of fun. And so this second to last slide is kind of our farewell video, kind of waving to you all. It was taken the last day of our youth camp, and it's going to show, it's very, very amateur drone footage. So it's going to show the camp is located at an elevation of 5,500 feet above the valley floor. You're going to see views of the Owens Lake bed, the Owens River, and you'll see the northeast Lone Pine Paiute-Shoshone Reservation. The ranch focuses on creating sustainable operations with lavender production, soil building, a meat sheep, laying hens, horses, and garden produce. All the while, the property continues to blossom with permaculture farming practices, creative terracing, native plant and water management, nature trails, farm tours, and innovative work trades. And we get to go experience this camp every single year with our youth and experiences. So this slide is going to kind of just take you on that overview.
Oh, my God. So one after this? Oh, it's a video? Oh, I see.
There's no sound.
Okay.
Now it's going to take you, it's going to look over the top of the youth camp area. Now we're going to pan down over, you're going to see the Owens Lake. To the side there. We're going to pan back around to see some of the Lower Owens River. And up to the north there would be the town of Lone Pine as well as our reservation. So this is the actual farm itself. This is the Carroll Creek that they do the restoration on lavender. And then we'll pan that over to the actual campsite. They do their own water off the creek, all run off solar. Another shot. Yes. All right, and last one. So before I ask questions, I just wanted to acknowledge my staff. Janice Aiken has worked with me since 2001. And she's my work wife, what I call my work wife. So we have that relationship, and we just know what's going on. Our other colleague Leslie is here this morning. But the three of us, and when you have continuity in a program, as long as you have, you just kind of know what's going on, how to do it. But I stand up here today, I don't do this by myself. And so it does take each and every person in our tribes and within our own selves to build that relationship with you all. But to build it with each other within our department is why we can be so successful and do the unique things that we do. So thank you. And any questions?
Great, that's great to see. So is it budgeted in your gap to fulfill all of these programs that we have?
Yes and no. So, I mean, it is budgeted as it's a solid waste component, so we do list everything that we say, and we say that we do, it is listed there, but it may not be broken out into an individual task, all solid waste, and within that task, this is what we do.
This is Sally from Big Pine.
Question about the junk vehicles. If you were collecting them, you were getting the VIN numbers. We find that these vehicles don't usually belong to the person you're talking to. And how do you deal with that? Because I've been thinking that what we need, at least in California, is a tribal liaison at the DMV to help us navigate this, because there's so many weird rules, like if someone left it at your house, or you were going to have it repaired, or they never came back, or, you can't find your paperwork. So any advice on that?
Well, it's kind of tricky and unique at the same time, because we've found lately that those aren't issues. The VIN number isn't an issue. I mean, they're just releasing, and either they have a pink slip or they have something, the junk back, they're just gonna take them. So it's not as stringent as it was when we started doing it, because you had to have everything in document for them to take that. So I think it's just a matter of who you're getting to actually come and pick them up, the recycler, and what they require. But that's not really an issue anymore with us.
And Sarah Ryan with the Guardian of Colombians. I just want to comment on Sally's comment that we've gone through that same thing with vehicles that, it used to be really easy. We didn't have to have a pink slip, most people don't have a pink slip. And then DMV changed, or CHP and DMV changed stuff, we couldn't sign off on stuff anymore. And we basically had to find a hauler who would, and we also bought a car haul trailer, but we also sometimes call it tow. It's missing all its tires. But yeah, it's just sort of hit and miss, and I agree with it, we should have a tribal liaison over there at the state, because it needs to be worked out. It's hard to do.
Just real quick, the handouts going around are just kind of an example of how we track our waste.
So, hi, good morning. I have a couple of questions. So, I know you said that with Lone Pine, you guys kind of do community-based because your reservation is not livable, everyone lives around the community. And that's kind of the same thing with Norfolk Rancheria. A lot of our tribal members live in the community. How do you justify that with your GAP grant when you're providing like recycling to your community, because it's just not tribal that's going to utilize that?
We just report it as the full final numbers as a community that is open to all of our people, all of our tribal members. So again, it can't be justified. You know what I mean? Obviously, because the waste stream is the waste stream. And so I'm not going to have a tribal member call me and say, hey, I've got a bunch of things to pick up, and they live, 3 miles off the reservation. It's just not going to happen. So whether we report that or not, that's up to you. But I think that we need to get away from being afraid of saying, hey, we're providing to the community because this is where our community lives.
And then one other question, when you did the tire amnesty removal, what did you have like a technician that actually removed those tires that had rims on them? Or how did you get around that issue?
Well, thankfully, most of them, the rims were already off. So, I mean, out of all of those tires, I would say maybe 10 had rims. So most of the times that they had rims on them, they were too large to take anyway, because they didn't want to deal with them either. So those just kind of got set aside. But, yeah, no, it was.
Tanya from Pekin Rancheria. So we have a local tire in the mountains because we're kind of far away, well, half an hour away from Fresno. So we pay $2.50 for a tire, just regular community, and $5 for the rim on it. We can take them in, and there's unlimited, we can bring them. So I think that would be a good program for us maybe to haul it there ourselves. Do you pay for the tire disposal or recycling when you take them to?
No, because if the tire is it's a yearly thing that the landfill offers once a year to bring tires in. You just we can do it 7 at a time. So it just depends on how long you want to store them or stage them, and where. But
I think we have time for one more question over there.
Negative good.
All right, good morning, everybody, Tom Dusty, Fish Drive. My only one question I have this morning is like, I see you did roadside trash pickup and tires. Do you do vehicles, do you do these with derelict trailers?
With like
Abandoned
RVs?
abandoned trailers or?
abandoned trailers. So I think we've only had like one abandoned trailer that we've had to deal with in these years. And I think the homeowner, or actually, it was on an assignment, actually where our tribal tenant building was going to. So I think that they actually helped provide funding to remove that. But, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's really not an issue, but I mean, there have been some, and it's just a matter, I know we've had some people have just paid to have it hauled off themselves, and I think it's been $300-400 to do that themselves, but we haven't been faced with that.
All right, thank you so much, Mel. Thank you, the rest of you.
Thanks for coming early, Tom.